The armored smuggler stood like a tower of metal, his heavy plasma cannon humming with dangerous energy. The moment the camp lost power, he became alert and furious. His glowing visor locked onto Serixa and Evan as if they were insects under a glass. Serixa pushed Evan back with one arm, wings spreading wide. "Behind me," she growled. Evan swallowed hard. "I'm not leaving," she agreed, but not dying. Her voice was sharp, protective. In final dot, the smuggler fired. A beam of burning blue shot toward them. Serixa moved faster than Evan had ever seen. Her wings snapped open, catching the blast and deflecting it into the dirt. The ground exploded behind them, sending dust into the air. More smugglers rushed from the shadows. Weapons ready, Evan's heart hammered. They were outnumbered, outarmed, and trapped inside enemy territory. But Serixa was not afraid. "Stay." "Close," she ordered. Then she charged, the warrior. And Lished Serixa moved with the fury of a storm. Her wings cut through the darkness, her claws slicing into the weapons pointed at her. She dodged beams, rolled under cannons, and knocked enemies aside with sweeping blows. Every step she took kept her between Evan and danger. Every strike she made to protect him. Evan didn't hide. He stayed behind her, watching the enemies, warning her when someone aimed from behind. Left behind the crates. To more on the ridge. One trying to flank. Serixa reacted instantly each time. They fought as if they had trained together for years. But the armored smuggler wasn't done. He lifted the cannon again, aiming directly at Evan. Serixa saw it too late. Nitrogen monoxide. She sprinted forward and threw herself between him and the cannon just as it fired. The blast struck her side. Her scales flashed, and she stumbled, wings folding from the impact. Serixa. Evan caught her before she fell. Her breathing was rough. Smoke curled from the burn, but she pushed him back gently. "I'm fine," she growled through pain. "Protect the younglings." Evan felt something fierce rise inside him, anger, fear, and determination woven together. He looked at the cannon, the smugglers, and the terrified children behind him. He had been afraid before. Not anymore. The Humyn fights back of him reached into his toolkit. His fingers closed around a device he built earlier, a small charge designed to overload generators. He sprinted to the side, dodging wild plasma fire. The armored smuggler adjusted his aim, focusing on Evan once more. "Come on," Evan muttered, breathing hard. "Just a little closer." The smuggler stepped forward. Evan threw the device. It stuck to the cannon with a spark. A second later, boom. The overload blew the cannon apart in a burst of smoke and blue flame. The smuggler roared, dropping the ruined weapon. His armor flickered. Serix's wings snapped open again. She launched herself at the smuggler, slamming into him with enough force to crack stone. They tumbled across the ground, claws against metal, sparks flying. The smuggler swung a huge fist, but Serixa twisted away and struck his helmet with her tail. Evan rushed to help, grabbing a fallen guard's staff weapon and jabbing it into the smuggler's exposed joints. The armor sparked and jammed. Serixa took the chance with a final, powerful blow. She struck the smuggler square in the chest. The giant collapsed. Motionless, the camp went silent. Only the distant hum of night creatures filled the air. The children Serixa stood tall, chest rising and falling. Her side burned with pain, but she forced herself to stay strong. Evan rushed to her. "You're hurt. I will survive," she said firmly. Then her voice softened. "Are you hurt?" He shook his head. "No, thanks to you." She looked at him for a long moment. In her golden eyes was pride, and something deeper. But there was no time to speak it. "Evan," she said urgently, "the children." "Right, the younglings." He ran back to the ship and gently guided the frightened children out. Some clung to him. Others cried softly. Serixa knelt, opening her wings to shield them. "You are safe now," she whispered. The children slowly believed her. Evan's heart warmed at the sight. But the danger wasn't over. More smugglers would return soon. They had to escape. Serixa moved to the center of the clearing and roared a deep, echoing call that shook the trees. It was not a sound of fear, but of command. Moments later, Shadows swept through the sky. Draken warriors arrived. They landed with heavy steps. Eyes wide at the scene, the defeated smugglers, the freed children, the injured Sarixa, and the Humyn standing among them. The warriors rushed forward. You rescued them. Sarixa, you fought alone? Evan fought too. You both risked your lives. Even the leader from earlier stared in disbelief. Sarixa straightened, her injured side trembling slightly. We acted because the children could not wait. A quiet murmur followed. Then the Draken leader bowed his head to Evan. Humyn, you have done more for our younglings than many warriors. You fought beside Sarixa. You protected the innocent. You honor us. Evan felt awkward again. I just did what anyone should do. No, the leader said softly. You did what only the brave would do. A bond that changed everything back in the caverns. The younglings reunited with their families. The air filled with grateful voices and relief. Sarixa received respect from every warrior who passed, but she didn't care about their praise. Her eyes searched for Evan. She found him sitting near the healing stream, rinsing dust from his hands. When she approached, he looked up with a tired smile. You did great, he said quietly. Sarixa stopped in front of him. Her eyes softened, glowing like warm gold. You, she said, fought with courage I have never seen. She placed a hand over his chest. You protected my child. You protected many children. And you protected me. Evan felt heat rise in his face. We protected each other. Sarixa lowered her head closer than ever before. In Draken tradition, she said softly, a life bond is given to the one we trust with our heart. And our youngling's future? Evan felt his breath catch. Sarixa, she wasn't asking. She was telling him something powerful, ancient, and deeply emotional. You are not just a human to me, she whispered. You are the protector who stood beside me when no one else did. Evan didn't know what to say. He only knew one thing: he didn't want to walk away from her. Or Lyra. A small voice interrupted. Evan? Lyra tugged at his sleeve, smiling brightly. Are you staying with us? Evan looked at Esir Axa. Her golden eyes waited. He smiled. Yeah, I'm staying. Lyra cheered and hugged him tightly. Sarix's wings lowered gently around both of them, forming a warm shelter. A human, a dragon woman, and a youngling who brought them together. A strange family, but a strong one. A family born from courage, a bond that would change the worlds forever. Night in the Draken Caverns was different from night on any human world. The crystals dimmed, the streams quieted, and the whole place felt like a giant living creature falling asleep. But for Evan and Sarixa, the night was only the beginning. Sarixa prepared in silence. She wore a dark armored cloak shaped to her wings. The scales round her shoulders shone like metal in low light. Her claws clicked softly as she adjusted her belt filled with curved blades and crystal tools. Even her breathing changed slower, sharper, like a predator ready for battle. Evan watched her from across the room, trying to ignore the nervous twist in his stomach. He wore a simple reinforced vest given by the healers, along with a small toolkit strapped to his side. He wasn't a warrior, and he knew it, but he was determined to help. Sarixa turned to him, eyes glowing faintly. Are you ready? He swallowed but nodded. Just tell me what to do. You stay close, she said. You watch carefully. You trust me when danger comes. And you do not try to protect me, understand? Evan gave a small smile. No promises. Sarixa stared at him for a full 2 seconds, then looked away quickly as if she didn't want him to see the small flicker of emotion in her expression. Into the night force they left silently, moving through the caverns and into the outside world. The alien forest was darker at night, the branches glowing with dim blue moss. Lyra slept safely back in the healing hall, watched by other warriors. But Sarix's worry never faded. Evan felt the tension from her like a heat around them. The forest was quiet to quiet. Only the sound of crunching leaves under their feet filled the air. How far is the smuggler's route? Evan whispered. Sarixa pointed toward the mountains in the distance. They move through hidden trails. They steal children from small villages and transport them to a base. We find the trail, and then we find the younglings. Evan nodded. And stop them. Yes, Sarixa said firmly. Together, as they walked deeper, the forest changed. The air grew colder. Strange shapes hung from the tree's silk cocoons, glowing eggs, long vines like ropes. The ground sloped downward into a valley filled with shadows. A soft beeping sound broke the silence. Evan froze. "What is that?" Sarixa placed a clawed finger near her ear. "Motion tracker. Someone is close." Evan moved behind her automatically. Sarixa lifted her wings slightly, preparing for danger. A moment later, 3 figures appeared through the tree's Draken warriors. They wore hard-scale armor and carried long staff weapons. Their leader stepped forward. "Sarixa," he said in a low voice. "You should not be here. I go where I choose," she replied calmly. "You know the elders forbid action tonight. I do not need permission to protect our children." The warriors glanced at Evan. "And you bring a human?" "Sarixa, this is reckless." Evan spoke before she could reply. "I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm just here to help find the missing kids." A long silence followed. Then the leader sighed quietly. "You truly are the human who saved her youngling." Sarixa lifted her chin. "He is under my protection." The leader stared at Evan again, then stepped aside. "Very well, but be careful. There are more dangers in these woods than smugglers." Sarixa nodded once. The path opened before them. The first clue didn't take long before Evan spotted something strange on the ground. A small piece of metal shaped like a collar. He picked it up, brushing dirt off it. "What's this?" Sarixa examined it. "A restraint. They use these to keep younglings quiet during transport." Evan felt a cold anger spreading in his chest. "They're monsters." "No," Sarixa corrected, voice low and fierce. "They are cowards." She raised her head and sniffed the air. Her eyes sharpened. "Their scent is fresh." They moved faster now. The forest thinned, replaced by rocky terrain. Evan tried to keep up, but Sarix's natural speed was incredible. She slowed down only when she noticed him falling behind Dot after a long climb. They reached a cliff overlooking a wide clearing. At the center stood a camp, 3 large ships, glowing crates, and armed smugglers patrolling with flashlights. Evan's breath caught. "They're holding the kids there." Sarixa crouched low, wings pressed against her back. Her eyes narrowed at the scene below. "Many warriors patrol," she whispered. "More than I expected." Evan's mind raced. "Then we need a plan." Sarixa glanced at him. "You think like a strategist." "Good. What do you see?" Evan looked again. His eyes scanned the lights, the paths, the fences. Then he saw a large generator behind the central ship. "If we disable the generator, the camp goes dark. Their shields drop. Their weapons lose charge." Sarix's eyes glowed with approval. "Then we free the younglings in the confusion and escape before the smugglers react." "Yes." Evan felt confidence flicker inside him. "Let's do it." The plan in motion. They climbed down the cliff silently. Sarix's wings helped guide their descent, her claws digging into the rocks. Once they reached the ground, they moved between shadows. Avoiding lights and guards, Evan kept close behind her, trusting her senses completely. As they neared the generator, Sarixa signaled for Evan to take the lead. "You know machines," she whispered. "I protect you." Evan nodded, heart pounding. He crawled to the generator, a large metallic box humming with energy. He pulled out his tools. Wires sparked under his fingers. "It's shielded," he whispered. "I need a few minutes." "You will have them," Sarixa replied, stepping forward. A guard approached. Sarixa moved silently behind him and tapped the back of his neck with a stunning crystal. The guard collapsed without a sound. She dragged him into the bushes. More guards came. Sarixa moved like a shadow, fast, graceful, precise. Evan had never seen anything like it. Finally, he pulled the last wire free. The generator shut down. The entire camp went dark. Alarms rang. Smugglers shouted in confusion. Sarixa grabbed Evan's arm. "We move now." They rushed toward the ship holding the younglings. The door was now unlocked thanks to the power cut. Sarixa ripped it open with a single pull. Inside, dozens of small dragon children huddled together. Scared and shaking, Evan whispered, "We're here to help. You're safe now." But before they could escort the children out, a loud roar shook the ground. A massive armored smuggler stepped into view. Holding a heavy plasma cannon, Sarixa pushed Evan back. "Stay behind me." The smuggler aimed at them. Evan felt his heartbeat stop. This was not over. Not yet. Evan healed slowly over the next days, but his mind healed even slower. He kept replaying the crash, the fire, the beast, and the moment he thought he would die. But every time fear tried to return, something else pushed it away. Lyra's laughter and Syrinx's presence. The dragon woman stayed close. She was never far from the room. Sometimes she sat quietly, sharpening a curved blade made of glowing stone. Sometimes she trained outside, her wings slicing the air with sharp, powerful movements. And sometimes she simply watched her sleeping child and the human who had risked everything. Evan noticed she barely slept. On the sixth morning, he stood on his feet without help for the first time. Lyra cheered loudly. He is walking. Mama, look. The human is walking. Syrinx turned quickly. Her golden eyes widened for a moment before she controlled her expression. You should not push yourself, she said firmly. Your bones are still weak. I have to move, Evan replied with a small smile. If I stay in bed any longer, I'll turn into a fossil. Lyra didn't know what a fossil was, but she laughed anyway. Syrinx exhaled slowly, almost like she was hiding her amusement. Very well, but do not leave the healing hall. Her tone was strong, but Evan could sense the worry underneath it. She had lost warriors, friends, even family to the dangers outside. She would not allow a wounded human to wander into danger. He nodded. I'll stay close. But staying close didn't mean staying idle. A new danger reveals itself later that day. Evan limped outside for fresh air. The Draken settlement was built inside enormous natural caverns, lit by glowing crystals growing like flowers on the walls. Walking paths of smooth stone curved along the edges of underground streams. Dragon folk moved with quiet strength, scales shimmering, wings folded behind them. Everything felt peaceful. To peaceful, Evan noticed patrols moving fast. Warriors spoke in hushed, sharp tones. A group of guards rushed toward the elder's chamber. Something was wrong. Before he could ask, Syrinx appeared beside him. You should be resting, she said, her wings half open. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were not. They were sharp, alert. Evan frowned. What's happening? Syrinx hesitated. She glanced around, making sure no one was listening. You noticed the tension? Kind of hard to miss, Evan replied. Syrinx paused again. Then she spoke quietly, every word heavy. There have been more attacks. Younglings taken. Villages burned. The enemy moves deeper into our land. Evan stiffened. The smugglers? Yes. Syrinx's expression darkened. They hunt our children. They sell them far beyond the stars. They are cruel and desperate. Evan clenched his fists. The memory of Lyra trapped under burning metal returned like a punch. What do your people plan to do? The elders debate, Syrinx said with clear frustration. They doubt. They delay. They fear making the wrong move. And meanwhile, Evan whispered, more kids disappear. Syrinx nodded slowly. Yes. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The cavern's glowing light reflected off the small underground river. Lyra chased tiny spark bugs nearby, completely unaware of the danger waiting outside. Evan's jaw tightened. I want to help, he said quietly. Syrinx turned sharply. You are human. You are injured. You owe us nothing. I don't care, Evan replied. I saw what they did to Lyra. If those smugglers aren't stopped, more kids will end up like that or worse. Syrinx stared at him deeply. Her wings relaxed, almost folding protectively around her. Why do you fight for us? She asked softly. My people. We are not your people. Evan looked at Lyra playing in the light. Because a child is a child. Doesn't matter what species, what world, what shape. Syrinx inhaled sharply, something like respect shining in her eyes. You are unlike any human we have known. He smiled faintly. I hear that a lot. The elders reject him. Syrinx brought Evan to the Draken Council chamber later that evening. The room was enormous, with carved pillars shaped like dragon wings and glowing symbols that shifted like living fire. The elders sat in a half circle, their scales duller, but their presence heavy with experience and power. When Syrinx explained Evan's wish to help, a low murmur rose among them. A tall elder spoke first. A human cannot join us. Another added, He is fragile, weak. He will slow us down. He will distract Serixa, a third said. Her judgment will cloud. Evan kept his back straight. He respected their authority, but he wouldn't apologize for wanting to help. Finally, the eldest among them raised his hand. The room fell silent. You risked your life for a Draken youngling, he said slowly. For that, we honor you. Evan nodded politely. But honor does not mean trust, the elder continued. You are not Draken. You do not understand our ways, our enemies, or our lands. Evan met his eyes. I understand danger, and I understand that kids are being taken. A few elders shifted uncomfortably. You speak boldly, the elder said, but boldness is not strength. Serixa stepped forward. He is strong. He fought a forest beast alone. He saved my child, by luck. Another elder interrupted. Evan's temper flared. If saving a child is luck, then I'll take more of it. The room went silent. Serix's wings spread in warning. Do not insult him, she growled. He has more courage than many warriors I have seen. But the elders shook their heads. Their decision was final. Evan was not allowed to join any mission. Serix's decision when they left the chamber. Evan felt angry and helpless. I just wanted to help. You did, Serixa said quietly. They are cautious. Too cautious, Evan exhaled. So what now? Do I just sit here and wait? Serixa looked at him for a long moment. Her eyes softened, glowing with something almost warm. No, she said. You will not sit and wait, Evan frowned. What do you mean? I mean, she said, lowering her voice, I'm not an elder. I did not follow their hesitation. I am a warrior. And warriors move. Evan realized what she meant. You're going after the smugglers, he whispered. Yes, she said. Tonight, Evan stared at her. Then I'm coming with you. Serixa didn't answer at first. Then, slowly, she nodded. Double quotes. Very well, she said. But you stay close to me. At all times, Evan felt his heart race. A human engineer and a dragon warrior. A strange team, but a powerful one. The real battle was about to begin. The world slowly returned to Evan in pieces. First the sound of crackling firestones, then the soft hum of strange machines, and finally the warm scent of herbs drifting in the air. His body felt heavy, wrapped in thick blankets. His arms ached. His ribs burned, and his head throbbed with a slow, painful rhythm. But the strongest feeling was confusion. Where was he? He forced his eyes open for a moment. The ceiling above him glowed with soft blue patterns, like flowing water trapped inside crystal. The room was unlike anything he had ever seen, half medical chamber, half ancient temple. Evan blinked again, trying to sit up. He didn't get far. A strong, warm hand pressed gently against his shoulder, guiding him back down. Do not move. A calm voice said. Evan froze. The voice was deep yet gentle, soothing yet commanding. He slowly turned his head. Standing beside the bed was a tall woman, though calling her a woman felt too simple. She was something far more powerful, far more striking. Her skin was covered in smooth scales that shifted between dark bronze and shimmering gold. Her long horns curved elegantly from her head. Her golden eyes glowed softly, filled with intensity and emotion. A pair of folded wings rested behind her shoulders like a cape made of fire and metal. She was a dragon woman, and she was staring down at him. For a moment, Evan forgot how to breathe. The dragon woman spoke again, her voice low and steady. You are safe. You are among the Draken. No harm will come to you here. Evan blinked. Draken? She nodded slightly. My people. He tried to push himself up again out of instinct. Pain shot through his chest, and he let out a quiet groan. The dragon woman stepped closer, her expression softening. You are injured. Many wounds, broken ribs, burns. You pushed your human body far beyond its limit. Evan gave a small, weak smile. Had to. The kid needed help. The dragon woman's eyes flickered, as if she was holding back a storm of feelings before she could answer. A tiny shadow rushed into the room. A small golden-scaled child, the same child Evan had rescued. The little one climbed onto the bed, ignoring all rules of care or rest. The child's bright wings fluttered in excitement, and tiny claws gently touched Evan's arm. You are awake." The child cried softly. "Mama said you might sleep for many days." "Mama," Evan repeated. The dragon woman stepped forward. "Yes," she said quietly. "I am Serixa, and this is my youngling. Lyra, the child you saved at the crash site." Evan's eyes widened. "So you're her mother?" Serixa nodded again. There was pride in her posture, but also something else, something deeper. Lyra pressed her small forehead against Evan's arm. "You saved me. You protected me." Her voice trembled, remembering the fire and the monster. "Everyone else ran away, but you stayed." Evan felt a tightness in his chest. "I couldn't leave you there." Serixa watched him closely. "My youngling told me everything before she slept. How you lifted the metal beam, how you shielded her with your body, how you fought the forest beast alone." Her golden eyes softened, becoming warm and deep. "You risked your life for my child, a Draken female's youngling." Evan tried to shrug, but pain stopped him halfway. "Anyone would have done it?" "No." Serix's voice turned sharp, almost angry, but the anger wasn't aimed at him. "Many heard the distress signal. Many saw the crash from the sky. Not a single ship stopped. Only you." Evan stared at her, unsure what to say. Serixa lowered her head, something Draken warriors almost never did. It was considered a sign of respect or deep gratitude. "You have my thanks, Evan Cole," she said softly. "A mother's thanks, and a Draken's honor." Evan felt awkward. Humility was easier than praise. "I just did what felt right." Serixa looked at him, as though she could see through every word, every memory, every reason he tried to hide. She studied him for a long moment before speaking again. "Rest now. Your body needs time. My healers will continue treating your wounds." Lyra curled beside him, her small hand holding his wrist. "Will you stay?" Evan gave a faint smile. "For a while, kid." Serixa turned her head sharply. Her wings twitched. "He cannot go anywhere in this state," she said, her tone surprisingly firm. "He stays here. With us." Evan blinked. "Okay." Serixa straightened her spine. "We owe you a life debt. Until your health returns, you are under my protection. No one will bother you." He didn't fully understand the meaning of a Draken life debt, but Serix's tone left no room for argument. As time passed, the room grew quiet. Lyra curled up on a cushion beside the bed, slowly drifting into sleep. Serixa sat on a carved stone bench near the wall, her long tail resting beside her. Her eyes never left Evan, as if making sure he didn't vanish. Evan tried to rest, but the silence felt heavy. Finally, he spoke. "So, what exactly happened after I passed out?" Serixa inhaled slowly. "My patrol found the crash site after my youngling activated her emergency beacon. The beast was attacking you. You were bleeding and barely standing." Her hands tightened slightly, claws clicking against each other. "If our drone arrived a moment later." She didn't finish the sentence. Evan looked down. "I'm glad you got there in time." Serix's gaze softened. "So am I." A moment later, she stood and approached the bed. She leaned closer, not threatening, but protective, almost concerned. Evan could see the small scars on her scales, the strength in her arms, and the softness in her expression. "You fought with everything you had," she said quietly. "Most humans fear us, yet you protected my child with your life." Evan swallowed, feeling strangely nervous under her intense gaze. A kid is a kid. Doesn't matter the species. Serix's wings loosened, lowering slightly. Her voice became gentle for a warrior like her. "You are a strange human, Evan." He chuckled weakly. "I get that a lot." She pulled back slowly, but her eyes lingered. "You will rest here," she repeated. "Lyra will not leave your side, and I will stay nearby." Evan blinked. "You don't have to stay for me." Serix's eyes narrowed, not in anger, but in firm decision. "I stay because you saved what is most precious to me." Evan opened his mouth to reply, but Serixa gently placed a warm hand above his heart, stopping him. "Sleep," she whispered. "You are safe now." For the first time since the forest attack, Evan believed it. He closed his eyes, and Serix, the dragon warrior, fierce protector, and grateful mother, sat by his side through the entire night, watching over the human who had saved her child. Evan Cole never planned to become a hero. He was just a simple human engineer traveling between small frontier colonies. Most people called him quiet, stubborn, and too honest for his own good. He liked fixing machines, not fighting monsters or getting involved in danger. But fate had other plans for him that day. His small shuttle was flying over a dense alien forest when his console beeped, with a weak distress signal. The sound was soft, almost broken. Evan frowned and tapped the screen. The signal was coming from miles below, deep inside the forest where sunlight barely touched the ground. No one chose to go there unless they had a death wish. Strange creatures lived inside, and people claimed the forest swallowed travelers whole. Evan could have ignored it. No one would blame him. But then he heard something through the damaged signal, a faint cry. A child's cry. He froze. His hands tightened on the controls. The cry came again, weaker this time. Evan's heart jumped. He didn't know who the child was or what species it belonged to. But he knew one truth very clearly. No child should die alone in a burning forest. He landed the shuttle as close as he could, though the landing gear shook violently when the shuttle touched the uneven ground. Smoke filled the air. Ash drifted like dark snow. The smell of burning metal and broken trees hit him hard. Evan grabbed a small emergency bag and stepped out. The forest felt alive. Like thousands of unseen eyes watched him from the shadows. The air was thick with heat. Evan pushed aside large leaves as he moved deeper into the trees. Every step felt heavy, but the cry led him forward like a thin thread he could not ignore. Finally, he saw the crash site. A small ship lay broken against a huge boulder. Flames burst from the torn sides. Parts of the hull melted like wax. Sparks flew from a smoking engine. Evan's eyes scanned quickly for life, and then he saw it. A tiny figure lay trapped under a heavy metal beam. The small body was covered in golden scales. Smoke curled around its face. Its wings, thin and delicate, were pinned and trembling. A dragon-like alien child. Evan didn't think twice. He ran to the child. The heat was intense. His skin stung. He pushed his shoulder under the beam and pulled with all his strength. The metal refused to move at first. Evan gritted his teeth. Sweat poured down his face. "Come on, please," he whispered. With a loud crack, the beam shifted. Evan managed to lift it enough and gently pull the child out. The small alien whimpered softly. Its golden eyes opened halfway, filled with fear and pain. "It's okay," Evan said in a calm voice. "I've got you. You're safe now." The child clung weakly to his shirt. Evan wrapped his jacket around the tiny body, shielding it from the falling ash. He turned to leave the crash site, but the forest shook with a deep growl. A predator. Evan's blood ran cold. The growl came again, louder this time. He held the child close and slowly looked around. At the edge of the clearing, a massive beast stepped out from the shadows. It stood on four legs, taller than a horse, with thick black fur and glowing orange eyes. Its long fangs dripped with saliva. The beast had smelled the crash. It had smelled the child. And now it saw Evan as a weak prey holding something worth fighting for. Evan swallowed hard. He had no weapon other than a metal rod half buried in the dirt. He grabbed it quickly. The rod was heavy, and his hand shook. But he placed himself between the child and the monster. "You're not getting near this kid," he whispered. The beast roared and charged. Evan swung the rod with all his strength. The metal hit the beast's shoulder, but it barely slowed down. The impact sent pain up Evan's arms. He stumbled back. The beast struck again, claws tearing through the air. Evan dodged, barely missing a swipe meant to rip him open. He couldn't win. He knew it. But he also knew he had no choice. He struck again, aiming for the beast's head. This time, the rod hit hard enough to make the beast stagger. Evan took the chance and ran toward a fallen log, using it as a barrier. The child whimpered softly in his arms. His legs felt weak. His lungs burned. But he kept going. The beast leaped over the log easily. Its claws scraped the ground behind him. Evan turned sharply and hit it again. The rod bent from the force. The beast growled in anger. "Come on, Evan," he told himself, breathing fast. "Just hold on. Just a little longer." Lights flashed above. A rescue drone? Evan barely had time to look. The beast lunged. Evan held the rod up in defense. The world spun. A sharp pain exploded across his side, and he fell to the ground. His head hit something hard. Stars filled his vision, through the haze. He heard a loud whirring sound, the drone firing a stun beam at the beast. The monster roared and collapsed, shaking the ground with its fall. Evan tried to stand, but his legs didn't listen. Everything felt distant. The child pressed its head weakly against his chest. Evan managed to look down at it, his vision blurry. "You're safe," he whispered. The child whispered in a trembling voice, Ma, he saved me." Evan smiled faintly. His eyes grew heavy. He felt warm arms lifting the child from his hold, and shadows of tall figures rushing around him. But he could not see their faces clearly. Everything faded into darkness. The last thing he heard was the soft voice of the child calling out to someone, in a deeper, powerful voice filled with worry and rage. Then Evan's world went silent.